Very excited to be here, and we're about to bring in our final three. Let's bring in the final three. Corey, Gina, and Spencer. I just hear deep breathing. This is going to be a really special night for you guys. I'm really excited, honored to have you as our season 2 final three. Bring your all. This jury has some tough hidden questions. They're going to test you, and I hope you have some answers. So this is where you answer for what you've done over the past 48 hours. Good or bad. You ready? Okay. Let's bring in our jury. We've got Lawrence, D, EP, Jenny, Lana, Andrew, Nick, Anna, Caitlin, and Purity voted out at the last tribal council. So, oh my gosh, are you okay? Jury, final three. You guys know how this works. We will have 60 seconds for an opening statement. We will then transition one by one in a pre-designated order for jury questioning. You can ask a question directly or to all three. Whatever you'd like. Just try and keep it within reason. It's already 9:15. But I want to crown a winner tonight, and I need to make sure you have the right information to do that. So, use your time wisely. We will then transition to a 60-second closeout, after which we will go to a vote. Let's get started. For our first opening statement, we're going to start with Corey.
Is my time starting now?
I got you.
Okay. I thought a lot about what I wanted to say to you guys, and I think that I genuinely don't know. And I think that what I'm going to give you is why I think I am proud of myself from where I've come here. I generally do not put myself in these positions. I think if it's not completely obvious, I'm fairly introverted. I was encouraged to apply. I did not think I would get in. I certainly did not think I would be here. But I think that I'm very proud of myself because not only am I here, but I am here exactly how I envisioned to be here. I saw Gina literally 2 minutes into the competition. I told myself that I was going to do one thing. I had not a lot of strategy prep for this game, genuinely did not. There was one thing that I told my wife I was going to do, and it was going to find somebody and align with them and to keep it under wraps as best as I possibly could. 2 minutes into the competition, I saw Gina. I went up to Gina and I laid it out to her. Hey, this is what I want to do. I pitched it as a David and Camilla type of relationship. Her response was, I'm not really sure what that means. So it didn't come off to a great start. But the moment she introduced herself, she said she was from Newport News. I knew that's what I wanted to go with. After that, I met Spencer and I felt very comfortable in the game. I knew I wanted to be with him at the end. And I can't believe that I am at this point, but I think I put myself in the position to build these relationships with you guys, to navigate and be fluid throughout that, and to always at least be aware of what's going on, to be aware of the conflicts and separate myself from the conflicts, and again, put myself in the position to be here now.
We'll lose 60 seconds, but I appreciate that. Gina. Go ahead.
Alrighty. Guys, it's been really fun playing with you guys. I guess I just want to share kind of my gameplay so you know my story throughout the game, which is true. Corey approached me very early into the game. I don't even think we had done a challenge, and he had pitched this to me. And I kind of was like, yeah, sure, thinking hopefully this works out, but I don't know if I can actually trust this guy. And then we ended up on the same tribe, and then we were apart for a long time on a bunch of different tribes, and then we came back. We kind of just were like, are we good? Are we still locked? And there was just this level of trust that we had. which was helpful because he was really connected with like Spencer and Andrew, and I had built my own relationships with people as well. And so it helped me to kind of have someone that I knew I could always trust. And I had other people in the game that I felt similarly to. But I think we were able to get a pulse on things because of that relationship that we had committed to. In terms of like my gameplay, you know, I didn't have any idols or advantages. I won one individual immunity. And I went all of these tribals with my name never being put on parchment, other than this last one, which I think I'd like to think it wasn't because people thought, let's just keep carrying her. I think it was a testament to my social game and that people trusted me. And I think people trusted me throughout the game because I was telling people to their face that like they weren't the vote or had to tell people and leave them out of the vote, which felt horrible in the moment. But when I put on my application, they're like, are you going to be a hero or a villain? And I was like, you know what? When else do you get to be a villain? I'm going to put villain, and I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that in any way, shape, or form. But as the game went on, I felt like I had these social relationships where I could try to make big moves, and sometimes they didn't pan out. And I had that legit idle play that I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to move from here. I've burned many a bridge. So I think my social relationships carried me far in the game and people trusting me. I think I did well in challenges as a team. We won the 5-person like immunity. I think my social and maybe some challenges were what got me here. And people thinking I was trustworthy apparently on that quiz. I didn't think anyone thought I was trustworthy, but yeah, I don't know where I'm at on my time, but yeah, okay, sorry. I didn't cry. So.
So I want to be straight up and get it out of the way that I believe that I've lied to pretty much everybody who's sitting on the jury right now, either directly or by omission. And the reason that I did that was because I was trying to figure out what was best for my game in the moment. And I wanted to come into this game. My goal from the start was to play a social game where I used my sense of humor and personality to disarm people, make them think that I was maybe the clown, not that serious, and find people who I could connect with on a real, actual deep level and stick with them. I think one of the things that pushed me forward in the game is that I identified twos that I could be the third and was nebulous and fluid between those and was honest with those people until the point that I wasn't going to be honest with them anymore. Jenny and Purity, we were a 3. Andrew and Corey, we were a 3. Caitlin and Sam, we were a 3. And at all of these different moments, I was being able to read, Caitlin and Gina. I was able to know the time when I needed to kind of move in a direction that would trim that down a little bit. And I think the thing that I'm most proud of is that I played this game as myself. Like, I think the jokes and deep conversations and like learning about everybody's backstory and life was all super real. And the part that wasn't real was everyone was a person to me in every part of the game. And then when we had to figure out who was going home, everybody became a number to me. And I just want to be super direct and real about that because I think we're all going to have to explain certain things. And we have people on the other side who naturally want to know what's up. And that's just kind of an opening part of I did because I wanted to be here.
Thank you. We'll now progress into the jury questioning. We have a predetermined order. Let's start with the mayor of Ponderosa, Mr. Lawrence.
Hey, you guys. Final 3, congratulations. That's huge. I would like to get your perception of what we think about you guys before any questions happen. So what I'd like to do is ask you guys to all close your eyes. I'm going to go one by one and say the names of everybody here. And I just ask you to raise your hand if you think that we will vote for you to win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Me. D. EP. Jenny. Bridget. Lana. Andrew. Nick. Anna. Caitlin. Purity. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. We'll now transition to Jenny.
Congratulations, guys. This is so exciting. You did a great job in your opening statements describing a little bit about your strategy coming in. So could you tell us about a time that you had to deviate from that strategy and how it worked out for you?
I wanted to go to the end with Jenny,
Oh.
genuinely.
Oh.
And I saw that the tide was turning. And I also saw that you were gas at challenges and you also were a great social threat. Everyone likes you. And I think it all came out in the survey questions. And that was the place where I had to deviate because I genuinely wanted to go to the end with you and I couldn't. So that's mine.
I personally felt the closest to Caitlin throughout this entire experience. And I had made my kind of like final two with Corey that honestly I had thought about kind of derailing from at times. But I realized that Caitlin was a far bigger threat to the end of the game. And I knew if I wanted to make it here, similarly, I wouldn't be able to make it to the end with you and win. And so I stayed with a relationship where I knew that they trusted me and I trusted them so that I could make it here. But that was a relationship that like developed over time. And yeah, it was very challenging to leave you out of the vote and then to have to vote you out. Like it just, that was not what I wanted to do, but was what I had to do to get to here.
I think it was voting out Andrew, my guy. I worked really well with Andrew from the moment we met, I think, and we seemed to just work together well on challenges. We had a really good idea of where everyone was at and, like who to split out to. I think what really spooked me was the pairings. I heard back that there were pairings that were trying to be picked off one by one, and that Andrew and I were one of those pairings. And I knew that at some point that we would have to separate, and it was going to be better for my game or his game if we were going to split. And he just got too damn good, and it made it pretty easy when I knew that he felt comfortable. As much as I'm sure that hurt you, it hurt me as well. I saw the opportunity. It seemed like people were kind of on board when it was pitched, so I just kind of leaned into it, and I think that kind of helped take the heat off of me a bit for a while, because I think that just being around a successful player in Andrew and a very great social player in Spencer, I was kind of caught in the middle, and I didn't want to be grouped together with such a bodied threat. So I wanted to cut off part of that body. And it seemed like the easiest and most opportune was Andrew at that time, despite how much I hurt.
Bridget.
Congrats to you three. I'm really proud of you and I'm happy to see you sitting here. My question is, what was your most powerful alliance and at what point in the game did you lock into that alliance?
This one's really easy for me. I think it was Gina, because it was, I surely hope, as under the radar as it was. I told my wife I was going to do one thing. Like I said, I said I was going to pick one person. It was going to be a woman, and I was not going to talk to them as much as I could. I sought her out, and I think that really gave me like a really good pulse on the game. I was able to connect with her. I felt pretty easily too. Like it was almost too easy. Like I was able to kind of get caught up on things. Like whenever we would just like kind of just be next to each other. I don't know if we're great at whispering, but it felt like we were able to communicate information like a lot easier than I was with like a lot of other people. And I don't know if it's because there wasn't that suspicion or concern that there was anything there. So I think that honestly, just establishing that relationship and fostering it quietly throughout the game is what put me in this position, and other relationships, but namely that one.
Corey was able to kind of touch on the alliance that we had made. I think a big, I don't want to say like maybe a short-term alliance, was when we had the Blood Moon. I had selected to go to the tribe Johnny was on because there was rumors that he had an idol. And I also saw within our tribe, he was the one person that I was like suspicious of just from like a standard just gameplay. And I thought this could be an opportunity to maybe get him out or take the idol out. I don't know if Johnny's behind me. Sorry, Johnny. And we go into that immunity challenge and it's a wall sit. And I was like, I've made the worst decision ever because no one is beating that man at a wall sit. Terrible decision. But I was able to come together with the 4 women to take out Patrick, which set us up for the next vote to be able to take Johnny. And I think the 4 of us were successfully able to make Johnny feel quite comfortable and secure within that group that we flushed his idol who didn't even play it. And I think that's just like one example of how I was able to form relationships throughout the game. And while I had this alliance, we kind of were able to do our own thing and then come back and get a pulse on different sections of the game to keep us kind of moving forward.
I feel like my strongest alliance was with Purity and Jenny for like the longest piece of the game. And as I had spoken about, I felt that there was a time that had come that the tides were shifting, that we needed to kind of move in a different direction, unfortunately. I will say that I've worked pretty extensively with Gina and with Corey, and in similar ways, we ended up getting Jenny out to kind of take heat off of me and Purity. I think that was a big factor in that decision. We got Caitlin out because there was heat in terms of your guys's connection. And also right before the tower building challenge, we're all standing in the gazebo. It was a huge leap of faith, but I leaned over to Corey and I said, I don't think we need to talk about Andrew because he is a beast. He's legit. And I feel like I was able to have the trust of the other half of those pairs in a way that was really useful to getting to this point and not painting myself as like, oh, Spencer's with that person. I think kind of the fluidity of my game was an asset and made it difficult for me to pin down of like, oh, we got to get him separated from that person. And we were always focused on separating other people.
Hi, congratulations. I'm personally excited for all 3 of you. I think you deserve praise. And for me, I joined this for more of a community perspective, and I hope that this is just the beginning of relationship with you and the families you represent. But I'm a gamer, and I need some hard truths. Just to paint the picture, obviously, most of my game was not around all 3 of you, right? The whole pre-merge, didn't interact, even in the pre-tribal phase, wasn't really on a team with any of you, didn't get on a tribe with any of you until we kind of camped out here last night. So games being they are, circumstances led different paths, and that I get that. But I'm going to be transparent here. I plan to vote for Spencer right now, and I need the 2 of you to convince me otherwise, because for me, in the limited time we had, Spencer at least engaged me in conversation in strategic conversation. I talk personally, but in a strategic conversation, we've had that, and I like to honor that. So I guess for you 2, convince me why that I should vote for you, having had nothing going at all. Even like, I'm okay with the KG. I don't know what's going on, like, but there's not a lick of strategy between either of us as far as I saw it. So yeah, kind of sell me on if that's good jury management, if that was just a game thing to disassociate from me, like why should I vote for you considering that?
I honestly, throughout the game, was not ever really thinking about jury management. And I think it's very evident with the moves I tried to make and failures that I made because I knew I would burn bridges. Um, honestly, like last night when we all merged, um, Bridget was someone that I knew that I couldn't trust. And she was getting pulled in with you and Lawrence a lot, and Lana as well. And I decided I don't really want to get involved. And I didn't want to be super dodgy and wishy washy constantly. And I didn't want to get caught in a lie that I couldn't keep up. And so I kind of dodged y'all. And I knew that I was doing it as it was happening because you would even see these conversations happening here and everyone's here. And there was this weird divide even this morning. But it felt like, how do I even close that gap genuinely? I didn't think it was going to come off. I thought it was going to come off disingenuous if I tried to make those relationships or to try to say anything when I knew that I had people I was working with that I was solid with. And so I didn't want to blow up my game by being like, Gina's playing both sides. She's really dodgy. So I didn't want to do it. And how I had to play out the game was to take out people that I was aligned with and was working with. And a big thing I think that I did well, and you guys might feel differently, was having people feel safe going into the vote. I don't think that was all the time, but I think there were some votes, especially the Andrew vote. I remember talking to Andrew, and we had gotten pretty close throughout the day. At least I felt. And I felt that he trusted me. I mean, he didn't feel the need to play a shot in the dark because I think he felt very reassured by who he was working with that we were going to vote him out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can probably take some accountability on the jury management stuff too, but I think I saw it as this wave of the original tribe or people that I was with just kind of knocking people out one by one. And I didn't get a lot of time with a lot of you that went out early, I think, particularly. Of course, I think I built a lot of personal relationships with you guys, but I didn't get a lot of game in there with you guys because, and I don't mean to be demeaning, but like, it was just, you guys were kind of ended up just being collateral in my push to kind of facilitate these heavy relationships that I was in, and I wanted to foster those. So, when the vote, or excuse me, when the vote changed onto somebody else, and I felt like I needed to touch on the key people that I needed to make sure that were good, and I had the numbers, and then everyone else, I kind of just made face and was like, kind of played dumb, or I kind of blended back in and took advantage of my personality and just kind of sat back so that I didn't have to have those confrontations or come up with those answers. So I kind of just leaned on driving the force that was already going. And, I think the real first person that I had to have like some conflict in sending out because they were a part of my game was Jenny. So that was really difficult, but I think once that happened, I felt so much more comfortable like making those moves, which is why I felt comfortable in making the move on Andrew, and I think it just kind of went from there.
Thanks.
So I feel like I wish we would have had a chance to play together, and I think tribes being drawn the way that they were, but I felt like we had such a good thing going in the main original tribe and that it was easy, but at the same time, and I think maybe slightly different than the two people sitting next to me, I wanted to be like open for business as much as possible because I was playing a social game. So my whole thing was kind of like, I'll talk with anyone all the time. I'll scramble. I'm never going to feel comfortable. And I'm going to play really hard. Like I wanted to, like Devon's is huge inspiration for me of like, this is fun. We get to do this. It's a game. And I really wanted to do that. I didn't want to have any regrets of like, man, if I just would have talked to that person, or if I would have put myself out there. Like I was out there all the time. And sometimes you guys didn't get the full story from me or the full information, but like I felt like that was fine in terms of the way that SuRVAvor's played.
All right. Congratulations, final three. I'll let you guys know right now. My vote is completely live, up in the air. I have no clue who I'm going to vote for right now. What I want you guys to do right now is elaborate on my blind side in particular. I will say out of the six, you three would probably be the three that I was the closest to. And so while I do understand it is just a game and I don't hold any hard feelings, I'd be lying if I say that it didn't hurt a little bit from you three in particular when I saw all Andrews written down. And so right now, I think there's a lot of questions on who to give credit to for my blind side since everybody voted for me. So I want you guys one at a time to just elaborate why you made that move and your role in it, whether you were the leader or a follower in that.
Does anyone want to go first?
So Spencer described it correctly. We were sitting at the posts. I was terrified that you heard him, to be quite honest with you. I looked over and said, "Do you think he heard that?" But we were waiting on a challenge, and he said basically that you were getting scary. And I said I was going to approach you with the same thing. And then we said we needed to wait on it. It was too soon to act on it now. And then we had the challenge. We went off. I saw Gina, and I talked to her about maybe possibly going for you because a lot of the numbers were already kind of shifting just away from where the vote was initially. So it was kind of up in the air. So just the realization that in talking with him that we needed to make the move at some point, and it was that conversation had happened and immediately you went home. So there was no challenge or anything in between. So after talking to Gina, I walked to Spencer and I said, "How do you feel about making the move now?" And that's when the move kind of just piled up. We've got the numbers, and it seemed like everybody was kind of on board just because of the sheer strength of a player that you were. It was difficult, but it was also easy because you made it easy to do it. It was not easy for me to execute it, but it was easy for me to identify that it was the move to make.
I just want to corroborate everything that you said. Like, that is really what happened, 100%. I will say that in getting other people on board, because it was a unanimous, it was a blind side, the sales pitch that I was giving basically was like, if he gets too far, he's gonna cook us all. You know so much about SuRVAvor. You are really good at math and puzzles. You also beat me in a freaking foot race, and I thought about diving for the Purity was yelling, "Don't dive," because I literally would have, like, had to go to the dentist in the middle of this, and it'd be a lot. It wouldn't be as fun right now as it is for everyone. But like, it was like totally out of respect for just the strength of your game and also the breadth of your game. I will say one other thing, which I don't know if people on the jury feel this way, but I feel like you also had a game where the day one, you played like a quieter, like not flashy game. And then I feel like once it moved to an individual game, you were just like catch me if you can. And so I think like that is what made me feel like I could say to Corey, which was like one of the scariest moments in the game for me, because I thought he could go, "Hey, I'm going to go." I knew he was solid with you, and I thought he could go, "Hey, Spencer's stirring shit up." And I thought that was going to happen multiple times in the game, and it didn't, because I read people the right way at the right times.
In terms of your vote, Andrew, kind of leading up to it, we really didn't get to talk much until we merged. And then we were chatting down the block last night, and I feel like we connected. And I was like, oh, I didn't know Andrew this whole day. And then going into day 2, I would agree. Your butterfly wings were like sprouted. You were great. And I was like, Andrew's a very strong player. I also trust him a lot. You had won that challenge where the foot race. You had immunity. The following challenge was the building of the tower, and I had won individual immunity. I had not aware of their conversation prior to the challenge that they were like, Andrew's becoming quite a threat. But immediately after winning individual immunity, I went up to Corey, and I actually felt like, okay, I can pitch an aggressive move now that I have an immunity necklace. And I said we could go with the easy vote and keep going with the majority and keep taking people out, and we could go for Nick. Or we could take out Andrew, who's building quite the resume today. And Corey was on board with that, likely because he had already spoken to Spencer with it. But I did pitch that to Corey without it being pitched to me first, even though it was like already in the works. And because I had a strong relationship with Corey, who had a strong relationship with Spencer, who I worked with Spencer. I mean, we all worked very much together, but Spencer is by no means the person, my go-to is more, I was aligned with other people I was aligned with, and that's how the relationship worked more so. And I do think going into that vote, we had a lot of conversations, and I do think that you felt safe. And I think if you didn't feel safe, you would have played your shot in the dark. And so I think we all did. And I think I also did a good job of making you feel that you were safe and you weren't on the chopping block for that vote. And it was a very challenging vote.
It was the best I've ever lied in my life was to you. I swear to God.
Yeah. I was expecting it, by the way, just not at 8. I was expecting it further down the line. So yeah. All right. EP.
Hey guys, really happy for you. Really proud of you guys. I do have to say the question that I originally had, I feel like it was answered. So I'm not going to say that. But I just want to say, Spencer, my vote for you was a throwaway because I knew you'd be sitting here. So that's it.
Hello, Final Three. Congrats on making it this far. In the Touchy Subjects Challenge, I was voted as the person whose vote is most up in the air at this final Tribal Council. But what I really want to know more about your games because I truly didn't feel like we connected on a strategy level at all. So I want to understand your perceived threat level throughout the game and what you did to mitigate that threat level if you had any.
I was terrified of you because I could not get a read on you. I think I told all of you that. I would have loved to work with you because I think you're a great player, and you probably the reason I did it because I was terrified of you. But what was your original question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering your perceived threat level throughout the game and what you did to manage that.
My
Yeah.
personal.
Your-
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha, okay. I think certainly when my name was written down, I did not see that coming. That's kind of when I shifted into gear, like, oh, I can be perceived as a threat. I think that was maybe shortly after, before the survey question that was the most underestimated player that they need to watch out for. I didn't love that because I felt like I was playing that game already. I just didn't think everybody knew it, but it seems like everybody knew it. Yeah, I think I answered your question. I'm not sure.
You're good.
In terms of perceived threat level, I think the thing I want to lead with is that my name was never written down until this last tribal, so I made it this far without anyone voting or ever having momentum for a vote against me. And, you know, that can be for a multitude of reasons. It could be people thinking, well, she'll never win, so we can just keep her going. But then I also won in the challenge where I had gotten tied with someone for most trustworthy. And I think it was more my social game and being able to build trust with people that they trusted the relationship that we had for a long time. And I think that kept my threat level. I think I had I was on the right side of a lot of votes. I made moves. I was a part of moves, but I think I kept my threat level lower. Like, people didn't perceive me as a threat or to go for because they trusted me and thought, well, I want to keep working with her to keep getting further in the game, and not that. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I felt like people trusted me and therefore didn't want to take me out. However, on that point, we never really built a relationship, and you had proposed to me several times throughout the morning today that you're like, I would really like to work with you, but I also could not get a good read on you. And so I wasn't I was also in a position where I didn't necessarily feel that I needed to build a relationship in the game to proceed further. But you did play a hell of a game with those shot in the darks. That was
Thank
sneaky.
Yeah, I'll answer your question first, and then I'll talk about our relationship and playing. So I think that was one of my biggest strengths in this game, was figuring out how to temper or moderate my threat level when necessary. I even certain times during the game would go up to Jenny or Purity and be kind of like, if I need to like turn down the like funny dad, like silly guy vibes a little bit, like tell me to like sit back. And then I would kind of sit back a little bit. So I tried to be self-aware throughout all of it. I think like the most like active move that I made to mitigate my threat level was that I was close with 3 pairs and I cut one of the pair, or not single-handedly, but worked to cut one of each of the people in those pairs when I needed to, because if I got too close to that pair, it would be a big threat level. And I think I was able to demonstrate to enough people like, hey, I'm not working with Jenny and Purity and it's locked up till the end. You can trust me, like it's a brand new game. And I think I wanted to also play like a more new school fast SuRVAvor game. I think like the old style of like the tribes stay together, we milked that for all it was worth. And then it got to a point where it was like, man, like we got to start going at each other. So I think that was a big part. And I also think I tried to use humor to disarm people. It is genuine. It's a reflex. I don't think I have like a Machiavellian, like, let me tell a stupid joke about Neat Malouk right now and like everybody will vote for me, or, like it comes from a like natural place, but I think I'm doing it intentionally in the scope of this game to be like, yeah, there's Spencer. Like I can go talk to him. And I also think I'm fun to play with. I don't want to like be arrogant at all about that. So I want to figure out how I should say that. But like, I think it was like fun, and like I played it as a game and I tried to bring people in as a game. And I just quick postscript, because I was a little long winded. I wanted to work with you. I think you still had the stink of Blue Tribe on you, and that was the main thing, was kind of like, am I going to have too many tight groups, and like how fluid can I get? Because I think I was already worried that everybody thinks that I'm everybody's friend or something like that. And so I think with you in particular, I saw you as like a come from behind story of like, everybody's trying to get you. You have all of these moves. You're at tribal and you're kind of like doing a thing. And I was like, if I get too close to you, will it send a vibe to everybody else that like I'm for sale? Like I'm open for business. Come talk to me, but I'm not for sale. And I wanted to be really tight with the people that I was working with at the time.
Great explanations from the 3 of you. I hear all of you. Thank you.
Hello, congratulations. So proud of you all. Great job. My question is, I want y'all to like, for the final 3 of y'all, each of y'all to say, what characteristics do you think your competitors have that got them to the end? Yeah, those competitors. No, all of us.
Does anyone want to start? Or you want me?
Like this, what do you think
Say
made
nice-
them a good player to
Say
get to
nice
the end?
things about the other people.
Yes, please be nice to each other.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious that Spencer's social game is unreal. He talks about being open for business, but he genuinely, I think, has like real relationships with everybody here. And it was evident in his gameplay too. Like you kind of always saw him talking to people, like literally everybody, but he felt comfortable doing it. Like watching him talk to others, I mean, I wanted to, I praise you for doing that. I think with Gina, I think she was very steadfast and committed to the game that she was playing, and she committed to the trust she had in the people that she had her trust in, and it put her here. If I answer that,
You did fully. Yes, that was good.
Yeah, I'd have to echo, like Spencer's social game is unmatched, and just able to really connect with people. And he does a really wonderful job of playing this game with people and then moving the chess pieces when it's time to play chess. But he's never not being human and genuine and getting to know people. And I think that really brought him far in the game because he was playing chess, but he was also being a person. And then with Corey, I think, you trusted your relationships that you had. And I think with, at least with our relationship, I think we had to trust each other's relationships outside of our kind of alliance. And but I also think that speaks to us being able to have other people trust us, to bring that back to one another and not be like misleading one another because we read something wrong.
Those are really nice things. So I genuinely appreciate you guys saying that. I will say that I think Corey's strengths, I will say off the bat, both are really great, well-rounded competitors. They're both really good in challenges. They had some puzzle skills or some building skills. Like, even if they weren't necessarily challenge beasts, like they did stuff that changed the scope of the game. I mean, I think about the last tug of war on the block with Gina. Like, that was like fierce. Like, that was like really epic and really cool. And I also feel like Corey, like, you could grit it out in challenges. And when we were on the same team, I was always like, you're the guy who's going to bring it home for us in anything that, like, there's a lot of movement or balance or like physical stuff. I just thought you were really great at that. But beyond that, I think Gina had a really great way. I mean, both of you guys had a really great way of like calm under pressure. Like, I think specifically of Gina, like, you have a facial expression where you can kind of like walk and you're just like, it's Andrew, and like you kind of walk away, and I would be kind of like, is she BSing me? Is she not? But like, you never got rattled, like, in those moments that like rattle people and like rattled me even. But I would look at you and I'd be like, she's calm, she's good, the vote is good, we're good. And then like crazy stuff happened at tribal that we couldn't like figure out in advance, but like it was always good. And then I think also, last thing I'll say about Corey is I just think like heart of gold, genuine person. I mean, the guy is a probation officer. He loves it so much that he's like, okay, I've been doing this probation officer thing that like protects our community from people, provides accountability for offenders. But like now he, instead of being like, oh yeah, all of these people that I work with who are damaged and have all of these horrible things going on, he's like, I want to go one step further and I want to get into the clinical realm of stuff. And we had that conversation last night talking about it. And I was just like, man, salt of the earth, like couldn't be me, like that kind of a vibe. And you have like you're a father and you're like, I want to help these people and I want to understand what's going on. And so like stuff like that outside of the game, Gina in medical school, like I just feel like the moral character of each of you is just so solid. And that's why I wanted to work with you.
Hi. I'm still feeling whiplash, so I'm going to just have a quick question. What is one thing that I did not know? The end. That you knew that I did not know.
Yeah. I would say when we tried to blindside Anna, I successfully left you out of that vote.
Anything that I still don't know.
Oh, still don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry. That was my caveat.
Does anybody have? I need to think on this for a second, actually. Yeah.
I should have touched on this earlier, but in a point of the game where I felt like particularly vulnerable, probably around the time like I heard my name and I got a vote, I felt like the relationships that I had at that point where Andrew wasn't there, it was namely just Spencer and Gina. I felt like I had to have something on the other side of those two things. And I had a lot of empathy for you and the way that I felt like you were processing things, because I felt in the same boat where we were just like emotionally exhausted. we're not used to all this socializing. We need our breaks. And I just walked up to you and I was like, I feel like you need somebody that you 100% trust. And she said, yes. And I said, I can be that person and I will 100% trust you. And I genuinely meant that. And I genuinely, no offense, Spencer, but if I would have loved to have bring her and Gina here, because I felt like those were the two people in the game where like I trusted Spencer, but at the same time, like this is the person that I worked with, the blind side, one of my best friends in the game, and somebody who was like carrying me to the point I was at. So I knew that like there was that side of him that was willing to go that length to put himself in a better position in the game, and I was too. I think there was times where like I considered putting Spencer's name out there, but there was never like a real good opportunity. But I think that building the relationship with you, I felt like I was like doing it to try to kind of like help your game and mine, but I feel like you only really helped my game in that. Sorry I couldn't do a little more for you, but I had the greatest time working with you, and I felt like I was able to kind of just identify like the free agents that were like powerful and had value for me, and to take me to that point.
Is this question like specific to you, or to like the try like what they don't know?
If you have one for me, that'd be great. If you have one for me, that'd be great. If you don't, that's okay.
Yeah, everything. I think we were very open for almost everything other than what I wasn't open about. So no, I feel like we trust each other a lot.
Do you have a surprise for anyone else here?
A surprise.
I don't know. You don't have to answer. It's okay.
A surprise about
Anything that anyone else didn't know, and still doesn't know. You can pass it on.
I think everyone. I mean, the big thing was more so like the blood moon. Only small groups really saw that, and I think those were like very successful votes in very small groups because we were able to build trust quite quickly with a 50-50 split between the two previous tribes. And I don't think everyone like saw that in real time play out, other than like EP was there, like people like that were present for it. And I think those were moves that I would want people to know about, and that we were able to take Patrick and kind of build up numbers to then take Johnny out.
Yeah. Two quick things. One is that my biggest regret in the game, which no one has asked, so sorry if I'm jumping the gun on that, was not telling you that it was going to be you before we went to tribal, and letting you have to kind of find out in a surprise way.
I think it's me.
Yeah.
Me or Anna?
You were locking eyes with me.
Sorry. To Caitlin. My biggest regret in the game was that we went to that tribal after the emotional puzzle situation, and I was very torn up about it, but I knew that it was going to be you, and I didn't give you the dignity of saying, hey, it's going to be you.
I did tell you that I was voting for you 10 minutes earlier.
No, exactly. But I regret not, giving you that, and having you have to go through that, like, genuinely. I will say on another level of like things maybe people don't know, or like kind of what happened there, I think people were like, oh dang, Spencer like didn't know how the card game, the numbers game worked, and like he gave a thing over to Caitlin so that like he lost the game. I was looking around at the numbers and I was like, I think I got third in that challenge. But I was like, I don't think that I'm going to win. I'm just looking around, and I thought Anna was going to maybe win. And I wanted Anna to go home, or not home, but out of the game. Stay here to Greg's home. And I said to you before that challenge, I said, we can't let Anna win. I said that, which was a very risky thing because you were tight with Anna. But I just said, I'm going to do this. And I saw the number. I knew what you had for the sequence, and I said, if it's not going to be me, I want it to be Caitlin, and you want immunity. And so like that is a thing that was intentional and real. It wasn't really like throwing a challenge because I don't think I was going to win. I think I was in the mix, But that was something that maybe you didn't even fully know, or I feel like other people didn't know. But I was basically like, we can't let Anna win, and it has to go to Caitlin, and then that's exactly what happened.
I think it's me. Yeah. You'll close us up. Yeah, I really enjoy playing with you all. I feel like Spencer, you for me were my strategy side. Whenever I was like, I need to lock in and talk strategy, like you were one of the first prior to Jenny leaving, one of the first people I would talk to. And I do think at the end of the game, when clearly I was like, I need a break from people. Like you're definitely the person I went to for that. And so with that, my vote is still open. We did Kumbaya before this, but what I would like to know is what was your biggest, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, what was your biggest mistake throughout the game?
I think my biggest mistake was we were able to successfully do the Andrew blind side. And then I think I got a little too hot and heavy and it was starting to play too hard. And I kind of wanted to stick with let's take out threats versus take out the name everyone just keeps throwing out, which was Nick's name. And so we were getting the numbers to do Anna. My concern was that I was very close with Anna and Caitlin at this time in the game, to the point where they were kind of pitching a final three. But I feel like at that point in the game, a lot of people were pitching a final three. Like Spencer had pitched a final three with Caitlin and I. And so I feel like a lot of those were surface level, and I didn't know how far all of those threes would go. So I decided I think Anna would be the bigger move than to take out Nick, who everyone is just bringing up if we could get it going. But being so close with Caitlin, I don't know if I knew, but I had a strong feeling that she would clue in Anna onto the vote if she were to know about it. And so I had to leave her out. And then Anna had a clutch idol play and it ruined the plan. And so I thought I was just going to have to do recon on Caitlin after that vote. But then I was like, I've now burned a bridge with someone still in the game. And like I've said, I really didn't spend a lot of time on jury management because I wanted to make it through the first vote. I wanted to make it to the sleepover back here. I wanted to make it to like the next thing. And so I'm glad I'm here. I think I worked really hard to get myself here and to build relationships to get to this point. But I also was like, I don't really feel why am I going to start doing jury management if I have no idea if I can even make it here? And so that just was not a thing that I was concerned throughout the game. And if I was concerned about jury management, I probably would have had to clue Caitlin in, or maybe not even try to go in on that vote. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
In terms of mistakes in the game, I don't think I played a flawless or perfect game, but I also don't. It's hard for me to look back and say that I made any mistakes because I'm here. And that's just super real. There were things that hurt people or that were uncomfortable or put me in a dangerous position. But if I made any big mistakes, I would be over there right now and I wouldn't be here, is how I feel. And I will say, in terms of my gameplay, there were multiple times that I voted for people or helped lead the charge on blindsides that got scuttled by idols and advantages and shot in the dark. I think my big, if there was a mistake or the thing that made my game the most precarious, I guess I would say, is that I just was not aware of a lot of that stuff. I think, to be fair, the way that those went down, most people weren't aware of it as well. But I think that was one piece where I left myself vulnerable in a few situations because I didn't have a contingency plan. I just was kind of we have 11 minutes to talk about this. We're going to go for it. And then people would come out of the woodwork with idols and crazy shot in the dark play. And I think I didn't have an inventory checklist that I wish I had for that piece.
I think for me, it was just not filling in the cracks with game strategy with a lot of you guys. I think it was easy for me to take that approach because of the time. Like there wasn't a lot of time to talk with everybody. So make sure you get the people you get with. I think a lot of it too was just not wanting to have that conflict and like try to foster even more relationships. Like I wasn't going to play Spencer's game. I don't think I'd be here if I tried to play Spencer's game. So I tried to play my game. And I think my game was keeping myself composed and comfortable. And that meant maybe kind of like neglecting some of the like game strategy with a lot of you guys, because I felt like it was like a lost effort. Like if I would have put that in, it felt like, well, I have to maintain these things that I know are really going to push me to the end, but I also have these that I now invested in. And if these kind of like screw up, then maybe this will like kind of crumble where I'm really going. So I didn't give you a lot of the time, but I think that kind of also hindered my game in a lot of ways. Not just from a jury management perspective, but I think I maybe could have been more informed. Like if I just had at least some sort of like strategic relationship with a lot of you guys that I didn't, or at least like fostered that relationship a bit more. So I'd say that's probably my weakness.
I will say, y'all asked me before, after I played the idol where I found it, directly after Andrew's vote. Caitlin and I ran off to the bathroom. There it was, next to the trash can. She went inside. No one else was around. Grabbed it over and stuffed it in my bra.
I'm so bad at
Read it in the toilet. I'm so sorry, babe. Yes. Yeah, and now's that time. So, yeah, I know to close out, we're all tired. But I know everyone's feeling a lot of emotions. I know I'm especially feeling overwhelmed by the love that has been poured into this game from Emily and Greg. Can't look at them because I'll cry. The crew, and each one of us that is sitting here. And that's been the biggest takeaway of the game for me. I said on my morning of interview that the only thing bigger than my love of winning is my hatred of losing. And rarely am I so content to lose, because I'm happy for each one of you. So I still hate it, to be clear, but yeah, we all love each of you. So my question is the why. Why, and it's a two-parter for each of you. So why do people play SuRVAvor? Why do people go out there with no food, no loved ones, complete strangers, a total social experiment where everything is on the line for you at all times, and you can never trust anyone, frankly? So that's the first, is why do people play SuRVAvor? And the second is simple. Why did you play SuRVAvor? Why did you show up here yesterday morning and decide to play? Let's start with Spencer.
I think people play SuRVAvor because SuRVAvor is a mirror. I think it's something that if you want to learn what you're made of, what you're good at, what you're not good at, it's like a speed run of that. And I think you're able to kind of see your idiosyncrasies, like where those work for your game or your life, and where those are things that kind of hold you back. And I think obviously people talk about like how to map on some of these skills to like the rest of the world, but I feel like why people play SuRVAvor is because it's a way to kind of bring all of the things that make you from the world to this like self-contained little space, and then like you're transformed, and then you go back and you have this very unique experience that like most of the world, I mean, it's why people run marathons. It's why people do all kinds of stuff. It's because like it's a thing that very few people comparatively get to do. And so there's just like such deep gratitude invested into it. And so I'm kind of laying out the carpet for why I played. I mean, I'm obsessed with the show. I was deeply, deeply depressed in 2020 during COVID quarantine. I talked to many of you guys. My wife is a nurse. She was working in, New York Presbyterian at the height of COVID early on, super scary days. And we were like, we need something to just like lower our blood pressure at night and we need to like go to Tocantins, or we need to go to Borneo, or we need to go to Kaurong, and we would just kind of like leave the world behind and we would just invest into these people that like we probably would never get to meet. And then what's weird is they're actually real people. It's not imaginary. And so I think just in terms of like the resilience of that period, like I feel like I owe a debt of gratitude to SuRVAvor for carrying me through that really difficult period. And when you have the opportunity to play it in the town where you live, that is, as we talked about with people who don't live here, Richmond's chill ass vibes. It's good vibes. You don't turn it down. You know what I mean? So that's why I played SuRVAvor.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of reasons why people play SuRVAvor. You're stripped of everything when you play the game, and it's just you and what you can do yourself. Like you, as someone who struggles with imposter syndrome to the max, which is like probably like every person ever in medical school, but I constantly like, I don't know enough, I'm not smart enough, can I really do this every day of my life? And so it's nice to challenge yourself in a different environment than just like the everyday I see. And can I do things? Can I rise to the occasion? Can I win a challenge? Can I form relationships with people? And when I found out that this even existed, I remember thinking, how cool people get to do that. Sorry. And I just never thought, oh, well, then I'll get to go play too. Like, you can literally just apply to play, and I live in Richmond. Like, why not? And I think I spent a lot of my life in a very competitive college athletics environment where all I did was school and volleyball. And my life now is just a lot of medical school, and everything always has like a goal. And there's times where maybe you don't get to like see your growth or your development or reflect on it. And when I started medical school, I went through a big change in my own personal life. And I then had all of this extra time outside of school to just like pour into these relationships and friendships with my classmates. And I have become the person that says yes to do like any activity with people. I was never that way before. And I think that's why I was able to play a somewhat decent social game, is because I've been like exercising that purposefully for the past 2 years now. But yeah, I wanted to play SuRVAvor because I was like, at one point thought that looks so cool, I'd love to do that. And then I got to a point where I was like, oh, I could just like apply and play. So yeah.
I think that to answer the first question, people play SuRVAvor because it's a way to get a good barometer of a person you are. It's like a raw, like you're stripped of everything. It's just a raw experience that you challenge yourself with, and I think that's why I played. Again, I don't put myself in these situations a lot, and I think that I have been in a place where like I want to get out more and like build these relationships with people, and I spend a lot of time with my family, and I love spending time with my family. But I want to get out and build other relationships, and I didn't find good avenues to do that a lot of the times. And my sister sent me this and said, hey, you should apply. I didn't think it was an attainable thing. I kind of didn't really consider doing it for a bit. And then I said, well, why not? I got uncomfortable when I got selected because I was like, the goal was just to apply and say you did, not to do it. So then I think I'm most encouraged, not again, but not how well I've done or like where I'm at, but like that I genuinely am proud of myself. Because I don't think that if somebody didn't push me to do this, that I ever would be in this position. And I don't think that I would like trust myself to do something like this. but God, I'm so excited I did, and it's been the greatest experience. I feel like I am like better of a person because of it. Like I feel more confident because of it. I feel like happier being around you guys. It's why I played, I guess.
How do we follow that up? That's my question. Per the format, we can do a closing statement. You guys have said a lot.
I don't know how much more I have
So
to say.
I don't know. So my question is, do you all need that? If you want it, we will do it.
Pass.
I would like to say something quickly, but I don't want to take away. I don't want to push anyone to say stuff.
Let's do it. That's why I asked.
Okay, cool.
Let's try and keep it
Really tight. Yeah. I just want to thank you guys all for playing with me. And I think we were talking about jury management and like, how do we do that? And how do I integrate that into my game? Like, I just did it because I was just being straight up and real with you guys in the moments where we were not figuring out who needs to go home. It was not me being like, this is my time to do jury management with people. It was just that I felt like I had an ability to connect with people in a real way. And I hope that you guys feel like that was genuine. I also just want to call attention to, just because we didn't really talk about it that much, but I had no idols. I had no advantages. I did not play my shot in the dark. I was I was put up as a vote a few times, but never in a super scary way where I really truly thought I was going home. And I won 2 immunity challenges like at the most crucial point in the game, when the stakes were the highest. And I'm really proud of myself for that. I feel like we've been talking a lot about social game, and I'm really proud of that. I think that was a whole thing. But I think the thing that I think I expected, if I'm being real, that I could use my social game to move forward. I think the thing that was missing from my SuRVAvor experience until the last few hours was feeling like I could kind of keep up with people in challenges or making fire or something like that. So I just wanted to say that really, like we're talking about all the things we're proud of, but I want to say that was something that surprised me. And I feel like my game would have been incomplete without those last 2 things that happened.
I guess I just want to also maybe echo gameplay. I can't think of a time that we weren't all on the same boat, on the same side of it.
Yeah.
Throughout. So I think like in terms of voting, if you look at it from that perspective, it's a very level playing field. I also had no like idols advantages. I had 1 individual immunity. But I didn't win individual immunity at a super, super crucial point. I did use it when I had it to feel comfortable and confident. Maybe the blind side was already going to be in motion regardless, but I did propose it without being prompted. And I think I played a really good, I don't even know if it's social, but like a really good relationship game with people, because I can't even remotely say that I was nearly as social as Spencer or nearly as connected with people. You're just really wonderful at it. But I think we all played different games, but at the same time, a lot of it was together when you look at then like how things played out.
I don't have a whole lot of new thoughts I can conjure up to pitch to you guys, so sorry. I will say there's a lot of things that have surprised me in this experience. One of the things specifically, I think a lot of the problems I have is I'm a very cynical person, so it's hard for me to like fully trust somebody and like commit to like building a relationship with them. But I think the most surprising thing, Jesus Christ, I'll stop eventually. The most surprising thing has been that there's not a single person I met, cast, crew, that like I felt like I didn't genuinely like love meeting you guys and like love getting to know you, and that does not happen often with me. I don't mean that I'm callous, but like it's hard for me to invest in somebody if I feel like there's not a connection there. And I felt like every single person that I talked to, I felt like was like supportive of me and like cared about the things that I said and wanted to listen. And I felt like I wanted to do that with you guys, everybody around. So thank you.
Final three, thank you. Jury, thank all of you. We're going to get to a vote. And then before we read the votes, we'll close things out. And then we'll talk kind of what happens after that off camera. Thank you guys for the good discussion. We have 3 voting booths up front. You guys will be writing your vote and then taking a photo in the alleyway as you submit it to the urn. You're voting for a winner. I know you know that. We have Bridget's vote. She wasn't feeling too well, so she will not be coming back. But we have her vote. So for the rest of you, we'll go ahead and do that.